Hey everybody, welcome to Randy and Janelle Live. I'm Randy.
And I'm Janelle, and we have Madison with us today from thrifterwives on Instagram, and I am so excited to have her with us today. She hopefully is going to give us all kinds of tips and tricks about refurbishing and repurposing and all that kind of stuff. So welcome, Madison.
Hi, thank you.
All the way from Florida, is it right? Did you just move to Florida?
In Augustine, Florida. I've been here since January.
Oh, nice. How is it down there?
I love it. Right now, we actually have a huge thunderstorm outside, so it's kind of loud. So sorry if you hear that. But most days, it's like perfect weather. I love the heat, so it doesn't bother me at all. And
perfect.
But other than that, it's great.
That is awesome. I'm sure a big change. And I see your whole house, you were in Washington, right?
Right.
Your house was amazing there. And so it's cool seeing you try and make your house a home now in this new place. So I've loved following the journey.
Thank you. Yeah.
So Janelle told me that you are a queen of thrifting and turning little other people's trash, for a better lack of a better word, to making them treasures and beautiful. And that's what Janelle and I love to do. I mean, I just was laughing at her because she had a can of spray paint the other night in the backyard at like 9:30 at night in the dark. So maybe that's one of your tips, not at night in the dark.
I try not to, but sometimes, if inspiration hits in the middle of the night, I'll be like, oh man, it's really late, but I really got to work on this right now.
Yeah. So how long have you done it since a kid, like creating and messing with stuff? Or
I was always kind of like into crafts and stuff as a kid, and my dad he's a finished carpenter, woodworker. He builds all sorts of things. So I think that's kind of where my original like inspiration came from, was watching my dad just like whip things up, which I'm not on his level at all. But he does help me with a lot of things. I'll have to call and be like, Dad, I can't figure this out. How do I do it? And he just gives me all the tips and tricks of the trade. But as far as thrifting and like repurposing, I've probably been doing for about the last, honestly, like 2 or 3 years, ever since I got like a real house with a big garage and had space to work and bring home all sorts of old furniture. My husband called it like my junk corner, but
junk corner.
Yeah, I always have a bunch of projects just stacked up in there. So
that is awesome. So do you, like, I know a lot, or at least lately, I don't know if this is a new thing, you've been doing knockoffs, right? You'll see something in the store or online that you're like, I want to replicate that. Do you see something online and go hunting for something, or do you see something in, let's say, Goodwill or a thrift store and go, I know back in my head I can replicate that?
Honestly, a lot of both. So like my last big project was that huge mirror that I did, and that one was honestly just such a lucky find. I actually went out looking for men's t-shirts because I did that bleach dye one.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, I want one. So I actually went looking for that, and I had been looking for a large leaning wall mirror to put by my back door. And I just happened to see that, and it was $15, and it looked just like the one I had seen online. That was like $500, and I was like, I cannot justify that price. The one I ended up recreating was actually like, it was a $1,300 mirror. But
Madison, so I'm on your page, and I'm going to show the picture as you're talking, but people can actually see it, what you're talking about. So keep talking, because it's really cool.
That one it did not start out cute, but I knew the shape. I could turn it into something different. And actually the reason I ended up antiquing it is because when I bought it, I thought it just had paint on the front, and then I realized it was a massive scratch filled with paint. So I was like, what can I do to and I remembered seeing the antiqued glass on Restoration Hardware. So I was like, I wonder if there's somewhere online that shows me how to do that. And lo and behold, YouTube had a bunch of tutorials on it. So that one was just like kind of a lucky thing. I mean, thrifting's always kind of a lucky thing. It's like a treasure hunt.
It is so fun.
It is.
Yeah, because that's interesting you went on YouTube, because from my perspective, I watch you. I'm like, how does she even know how to do all this stuff? Like, I would have no clue how to antique. I wouldn't even think of antiquing. Like, is that your go-to of, oh, I think I want to antique, and then you just YouTube it?
Usually I'll start out with Pinterest because obviously that's like where all the DIY tutorials come together. And
Okay.
if I can't find it, I'll go to YouTube. And then if I can't find it there, I actually go to TikTok, which is really weird because all you ever see is like the funny and the dancing videos. But that is a really awesome place for just inspiration because there are people doing entire home renovations on there. And
Really?
so many good ideas. Yeah, I love it.
Janelle, now I have to get on TikTok.
I know. Everyone's
Another
like
thing.
so like aged out of this app, like even myself. But then you find other people that are in your niche and like doing the things you like to do, and you're like, okay, I'm good.
Yep.
Safe
Yep.
here.
Oh my gosh, you're going to have to send some of those TikTok links too, because
Oh,
all it shows me is the funny, perfect lip syncer people, you know?
right. Yeah, and then the more like home reno ones you click on, the more it'll show you on your main feed. So then that's all you'll get, and it's awesome.
Oh yeah, I need to start that.
So I'm on your Instagram, Madison, and this is something that you see all the time, but I would have never thought to do this. This is that banker's lamp, basically. Everybody has seen this lamp.
Mhm.
I mean, but that would not go with anything in my house. So I love that you took that simple lamp and turned it into something gorgeous like this. Like, I would have never thought to do that.
And I thought it was so cute, but it was just so easy. I spray painted it. It was like a $4 lamp and I loved it. It worked perfect. Most things they do test ahead of time, so when you buy a lamp, you know it's going to work.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good point too. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, garage sale, not that you can garage sale anymore. I wonder when we'll be able to do that again.
Well, can you garage sale in Florida?
So I haven't been in Florida yet because we just reopened everything like 3 weeks ago. So I'm just now getting back into the swing of like looking for where all my local thrift stores are and like getting the land. But when I was in Washington, my favorite thing ever was estate sales. They are amazing, especially like in the Seattle area where my sister lives. We'll go together. And they're awesome because things like that you can barter. First of all, so even thrift stores, like a lot of people don't know, locally owned thrift stores you can barter. Chain ones like Goodwill and what's the other big one I'm thinking of? I can't think of the name of it. Things like that though, you can't really barter because they have their set prices depending on what they scan a certain item and it pops out a price for them. But locally owned things, I almost always do unless I feel like it's already reasonably priced and the money is actually going to charity, then I don't try to barter.
I had no clue you could barter. Like, did you know that, Randy?
I mean, estate sale type things, yeah, but not necessarily the locally owned. That's good because you know, there's been some times I've walked in, I'm like, I am not paying $70 for that shelf.
Like a men's t-shirt, I'm like $10. No, because I could make this. So I'll just walk up to say, will you take $5 for this? They'll usually come back at $6 or $1 higher than whatever you say. And I'm just like, okay, that's fine. Because if you're going to resell something like I do with the t-shirts, every dollar helps, you know? So if you can say it for a little bit less, then why not?
Here's another great find that you did. It's a chair. This is something that my daughter would love. She's been begging for some sort of an awesome chair in her room, but this is the before, I'm guessing.
Yes, it is.
And then look at how cute, if I can get it to work. Can you see it? How cute you turn that into. And so talk about this one, because this is something simple people can do, because there's furniture for sale right now with this weather all the time, even on the like your virtual garage sales.
Yes.
On Facebook and stuff.
That one was actually an estate sale find. And it's funny because it was probably the least promising estate sale you could think of. It was just at this old it wasn't abandoned, but like this is kind of gross, but it was like a condemned mobile home type of situation way out in the country. But I was like, I'm gonna go hit it just in case. And they had so many of those chairs. I could not believe it, but I could only fit one in my car. So I asked the guy, I said, how much would you take for this? Because it was run by an actual company, which most estate sales are, and they'll go for like 3 days and the prices change every day. But He was like, I don't know, what do you think? I was like, $10. He's like, sure. So I grabbed it for $10, thinking, oh, I'm just gonna spray it, with a different color. But then when I got in my car, I realized I'm like, my hands are really itchy and they hurt, and it was just covered in fiberglass. So
Oh.
that was another thing I had to look up, is how to remove fiberglass from a rattan chair. So I had to do all that. It really didn't take that much more time, but it did take a little bit more materials. And then I handmade the cushion because I couldn't find the right size cushion because it was a massive chair. So I just hand sewed it. I don't even have a sewing machine.
I'm so happy to hear you say that, because there's been so many times. Janelle, do you remember my denim bedding set?
Yes.
Denim was not a thing back then. I'm like, I
Right.
just need a denim Cal King duvet cover, and nobody had. So I made it myself. I'm like, fine. That's kind of what you do.
So gratifying when you make it yourself. Like, it feels so good. But yeah, it was my first time really doing a sewing project, so I was really happy with the way it turned out. That one I just kind of guessed on. I didn't really watch any tutorials. But
what did you put inside of that, the material for like the pillow? Is it an actual pillow, or is it like stuffing?
it was actually a big foam core. I think the foam core I got at Walmart because that was the most affordable place. I had to price out everything for this cushion. And then I just got a layer of batting and wrapped it around, like sandwiched it. And then I just did the fabric over it, measured it out and all that because it had to be curved on one side. So I think the cushion, it was a lot more expensive than the chair for all those materials because I did go for like the nicer fur. I think the cushion cost me like $50. But then again, I didn't have my fabric scissors before that. So it was like all supplies that people would already have on hand.
But these chairs, when you try and go buy something like that
Yes.
for a cute bedroom, they're like $300, $400. I'm like, no.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And when I went to move, I sold pretty much all of my furniture because it was just way too much to move it all over, and I wanted to kind of start over with a coastal theme anyhow. But I think I ended up selling that chair for like $120.
Awesome.
So I mean, with maybe like $65 of material into it, I was pretty happy with it. And I actually kept it in my house for a long time because I loved it.
That's very doable. People could do
Mhm.
that. Find an old chair. Even Janelle, like your dining room chairs or your patio furniture, like you could redo just with some spray paint and new cushions. Freshen up real easy.
So easy. And you can do it so cheap too. If you get the coupons for Joann's, stores like that, and you know when to shop and you keep an eye on your coupons, it's super affordable.
That's
So do you have, this is silly, but like if I go to Home Depot or Walmart, actually Walmart has the biggest selection of spray paint I've seen in my life, but there's a huge selection of spray paint and they all look the same to me. Like, are they all the same and you just go on color, or how do you choose?
That's not the same.
They're not?
No, not at all. So I have like just trial and error with spray paints. Like I have my favorite mattes, I have my favorite glosses. I finally found my favorite gold spray paint. But I do find that just overall best quality and just the finish, Rust-Oleum for sure.
Yeah.
Love
Okay.
spray paint. And if you're looking for a matte solid color, the Rust-Oleum high performance enamel is my favorite spray paint of all time. That's almost why everything I have is matte black, because I just love using that paint.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it how it goes, the look of it, or how it goes on? Like, what makes the big difference between them?
Both. Especially for like beginner spray painters, if you go with something cheap, it will tend to like spray out and get bubbles on things or like splat marks. And so if you go with a higher quality spray paint, it goes on really smooth, it dries faster, the finish is more true to what you are expecting to get, especially with like gold spray paints and things like that. And then like cheaper stuff will turn out almost blotchy. Like if you're going for a matte, some parts will be like almost shiny, and then some parts.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
TikTok videos you watch, they zoom in on things and I'm like, the finish isn't right. And so it does make a big difference, but overall, Rust is my go-to.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Good.
What's your project you're working on currently? Do you have one for your new house that you're in the middle of?
I actually have several. So that's another thing is I'll go thrifting and I'll find things I'm not even planning on, and I'm like, I get so many projects going at once. But my next one that I'll probably complete is almost like, is it a hexagon or an octagon? Now I can't think. It's an octagon mirror, but it's like a long octagon. And I started out making the tutorial, and then I've totally switched gears after finding a better idea on Pinterest. So it's just like a little $7 mirror I found at Goodwill the other day, and the frame is totally ugly, but as long as you can find something that has a good shape to it, and you know, okay, I can do something with it based on like the bones of what this is, then it will usually turn out good. So I'm just gonna take the frame off and use the cool shaped glass. So.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah. See, here's my problem. I think I'm too think inside the box. So if I saw a mirror, all I can think in my head is spray paint the frame a different color. Like I can't think outside of that.
Well, you can now because she just taught you. Take the frame off. You can use the glass.
And that was like my first instinct. I was like, well, I could gold leaf and antique it like I did the last mirror. That'd be cute. But then I started to think, okay, well, what room is this going to go in if I decide not to sell it? And what's the look of the room I'm going for? So then I just started looking up rattan mirrors, and I found a super easy, super good idea DIY on how to make a sunburst mirror. And I'm like,
Oh,
see, I can't believe I wouldn't have thought of that. Like, there's just so many good ideas, and the materials will cost you probably less than $10 to do these things, and then it's a whole new mirror. And if you want to resell it, you could probably sell it for $45.
so how much do you resell? Like, do you only resell what you're like, I don't want to keep this, or do you buy things going, oh no, I know what I can make this, I'm gonna resell it?
Sometimes it's really hard for me because most of the things that I end up making, I'm like, I really want to
You like it.
So I'll usually have it in my house for a little while, and then once I start redoing things, then I'll sell it. But some things like the t-shirts I will buy specifically to sell, which is really hard for me too, because I'm like, if I find a really good one, it's mine. But it's hard for me to part with things. But most of the time, like right now specifically, because I am getting my house reset up and like starting from total scratch, most of the things I'm purchasing right now are for my own home. But like if somebody was like, oh my gosh, I love that and I want it, like I would totally sell it.
Do you sell it like on Craigslist or a neighborhood site, or just through friends? Like, what do you do?
Usually just through friends, especially in Washington. I would sell everything on my Instagram stories, and it would be sold sometimes within like 5 to 10 minutes. So I did.
Oh my gosh.
A lot of unhappy
Wow.
friends that were like, I want it, and I'm like, it just sold, and it kept happening to them. Like especially with when I was cleaning out my closet, I was like, I can't believe you guys want this stuff. But my next go-to after that, if there's no luck with that, I just do Facebook Marketplace because it's no spam. It's a lot easier. I usually have people Venmo me in advance before I'll meet up with them, so then I'm not getting my time wasted or anything like that. And they usually don't have a problem with it, so it works for me. I usually make them come to my house. So
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you do with t-shirts? I didn't even know you did anything with t-shirts.
So I actually got the idea from TikTok. And it's just a really fun, easy thing that I didn't expect people to really care for that much. But like reverse dyeing, like vintage t-shirts, like I'll pick up, like the one I did was a Sons of Anarchy. And I got it for $4 at a, I think it was a Goodwill or something. But you just, there's like totally a ton of different patterns you can do. You tie it up with rubber bands and then you pour bleach on it, and it's super popular right now. But then also like the tie-dye thing is super popular. Cropping, taking different shirts and, you know, making them into v-necks, things like that. There's so many different ideas on TikTok, but people are really into like unique and old t-shirts, so thrift stores are obviously the perfect place for that.
My son comes home, not as much now with the shutdown, but pre-COVID, he would come home and I would do like a double take, like, what is that? Oh, you've been thrifting. Like he finds it's like they go in there looking for the craziest, oddest, whatever. I don't know. I can just always tell. And they're so happy. It's like such a thing now, especially with the younger, I don't know how old you are, but younger.
Good than us.
But my kids age, college age, they go thrifting. It's like a thing. They go to coffee and they go thrifting like it's an event.
Right? Yes.
Mhm.
And I do that with my friends too. We'll get together and go thrifting, and it's just so much fun to see what we can find, and we'll help each other pick out home decor pieces and things like that. But I feel like, 10 years ago when MTV My Super Sweet 16, it was all about flashing like, oh, I have Prada and Gucci and all this stuff. And now it's like, oh, you like it? I got it for $2. Thank you.
Exactly. I
All
love it.
you can save, and I love it.
I love it too. I'm like, oh, Target? Like,
Oh,
totally. It is like that. And even with COVID, it's really made a lot of people simplify. And so it just supports what you're doing even more, which I love. So
yeah,
that's
and
fantastic.
it's also because it's a more sustainable way to shop,
Yes.
Yeah.
versus, buying something from a factory or a
Yeah.
sweatshop at certain stores. So
Yeah.
I think if you can reuse something, why not? You might as well.
I love it.
Yeah.
I am so motivated now. I need to go on TikTok. I literally did not know that they had even a whole like home DIY like section. I guess because I didn't look.
What is awesome about it is you go on YouTube and you click a tutorial and you're like, I do not want to sit through a 25-minute video on how to do this. But on TikTok, they're all condensed to at least like the longest is 1 minute. So it's like you get the whole thing in a minute, and it's amazing.
So awesome. My husband's in trouble now because I'm going to be TikToking and getting a bunch of projects going. You inspired me, Madison.
Yeah, but not a lot. Like we don't have thrift stores open yet where I'm at. Do you, Randy?
No, not yet.
Okay.
But
Not
stuff
yet.
is starting to slowly open. So I'm not quite sure when those. I think those are next. Like Joann's is open now. I think you can go in just to certain people. I don't know if they personal shop with you. You definitely can order and pick it up at the store. But I have been seeing people going in and out of Joann's lately nowadays.
Okay.
They had an awesome Memorial Day sale. But another thing I picked up there that I've been really into, and I put it on my story a few days ago, is the shibori art, which is really, really fun because I found it on, I think it was Ballard. They're selling these pieces of fabric framed in a shadow box for like $240. And
oh
you
my
can
gosh.
get the supplies. Like I got all the supplies with my Joann's coupons. It was $11, and I had an old shadow box refinished. I'm like, this is the stuff. Like if you just look on your favorite home websites, like mine are Serena and Lily, Ballard. I love Restoration Hardware, things like that. You can get so much inspiration. Just think like, okay, how can I make this but super cheap?
I love it. So you've mentioned some really good websites for inspiration. You mentioned some really good social apps that have inspiration. So that's good. And then you also mentioned your favorite brand of reliable spray paint, Rust-Oleum. So that's enough right there to get beginners going.
You gotta start shopping.
Yes.
And most of the projects that I do that I put on my stories, I think it's kind of fun because you see me go like, oops, that didn't work. Okay, let's try that again, because most of these things I haven't done 100 times, like the people on YouTube that are just like whip it together because they've done it so many times. So, like you're learning with me and you're watching me do most of these things for the first time. So I think that's kind of fun.
That's actually my favorite part because it kind of gives me hope. Like, oh, I can do that too. Like if all your stories were just perfect, I'd be like, well, she's just perfect.
Yeah.
I would think. And instead when you're like, that didn't work, I'm like, oh, it's okay for it to not work. Here's how we pivoted.
Yeah, and sometimes I have to go back to the craft store 3 times because I didn't get enough, or I bought the wrong thing, but you know what? Then I'm just like stockpiling supplies for the next thing, and so I'm like, it's okay, like, or return things if you get the wrong thing. So
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah,
it's fun.
I love it.
I love it. Super exciting.
For those of you that want inspiration, she's on Instagram. What's your handle, Madison?
It is Thrifterwives, and it's run by my sister and I because we both love deals. We both love thrifting, estate sales, yard sales. We do it all, and so we just want to share inspiration and good deals with everybody else. They don't have to break the bank decorating their home or you know, doing
I
their
love
outfits,
it.
whatever you're doing.
What
So,
part of the country is your sister in?
she is in the Pacific Northwest, so in the Seattle area. She lives in Black Diamond, Washington, which I hadn't even heard of till she moved
So you
here.
guys are covering coast to coast.
Yeah, so it's kind of fun because here in like the Southeast, we have a ton of stores that aren't, you know, on the West Coast. And we have some stores, for instance, Inco, one of my very favorite stores, we don't have here. So it's kind of cool to get to see what both stores have, and like even the styles of what's in the thrift stores are totally different.
I'm sure very different. That's super cool.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Yes.
For with us.
Thanks for having me, guys. This was so much fun. I'm so glad I did it. I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but
There's tons to talk about.
Tons. Now I'm going to be wanting to message you like, Matt, what do I do with this? Where do I look if I see something?
project and you're like having creative block, I will try my best to help you or send you an inspiration picture. I don't even mind. Like, even though I sell stuff, I love like when other people make their own things too, because it's just fun. So I mean, everybody can get at it. There's enough room for everyone to do it. So
awesome.
It is fun.
I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. And now I know your little girl, you'll probably have her watching TV or something in the background, right?
Finally down for a nap. Thank God. Finally.
Oh, good.
Awesome. Well, best of luck to your creation and putting your home together. I know it's going to be beautiful, and I look forward to seeing more of your projects that you post.
Thank you.
Thanks,
All right.
Madison.
Have a good day.